everybody, and welcome to That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough. That would be me. And this is the show where we talk about the dogs we love and the stupid human behaviors we don't, also known as shubs. So just to start off right away, the topic for today is, what is aggression? Take two. I did have a show on this, a podcast on this last year, very early on in the That Dog Training Show career, history, and we had a little technical difficulty, and so about a third of it is just missing. It's just gone. So I thought I'd just start over because it's a big focus on not only my personal career and what I have to deal with in terms of classes, but it's also a big problem for us. I mean, in terms of what we're doing to create aggression, what is aggression in terms of its definition, how do we resolve those issues, how do we prevent aggression. So I want to kind of enlighten you in terms of how I look at aggression, how I define it, and go into some dirty details of things. And I want to let you know that aggression is a normal part of dog behavior and communication. It's just the reasons for the aggression and the extent of the aggression that we have to kind of pay attention to. So before I go any further, those of you who are in the Los Angeles area and would like to take group classes with me, the new classes start this weekend. So that's Saturday. That's the 22nd and 23rd of August. And today is Wednesday. So you have just a few days to make sure you get in those classes. Check out bluecollarworkingdog.com. And I also suggest you check out their supply store in terms of training supplies and food, because it's a pretty awesome store and they have a lot of stuff. So things that you may not have even thought of. So especially if you're an active person and like to work out with your dog and things like that, that's an awesome place to go shopping. I end up buying things there every week usually. So and I kind of sort of am associated with them, so I get sucked into. But it's really good, and they have some things that you won't find anywhere else. Anyway, so going back to what is aggression, I'm going to warn you that aggression is defined as something that's very broad and very what might seem vague at first. So just open your mind to this. Aggression is simply overexcitement or anxiety that is improperly channeled. That's it. It's overexcitement or anxiety that is improperly channeled. So, what that means is we have to get rid of some of our myths about aggression. And the number one myth about aggression is that we think it's about intent. It is not about intent. It is not about a dog means to be vicious or means to be negative or means to harm another. It is not about its mood so much as it is about excitement. It can be very positive, hormonal excitement. They could be very excited to see another dog. They could be very excited to smell and see the hot dog cart with the bacon-wrapped hot dog sizzling on top of it. But their behavior, their reaction to it, how they channel that excitement, and honestly, it's because we have or have not channeled that excitement, is what defines aggression. You see, dogs don't have the ability that we have, where they can cognitively think, I'm probably overreacting to this, so I should just tone it down. No, technically we have that ability, although we probably very rarely do that and use that ability. But dogs do not have that ability. They require an outsider, in the pack behavior world, that would be called the alpha, to let them know to knock it off. So, when it comes to our dogs, it is not a definition of how mean they are when we say a dog is aggressive. A dog can be extremely friendly, but they run up to another dog and T-bone it in its face and has the tail up really high and wagging it and arches its neck. And the owner will automatically say, "Oh, my dog is really friendly." No, your dog's an asshole. Because you taught the dog to headbutt everybody. You see, greeting other dogs has a particular ritual. And running up into a space of another dog, the personal space of another dog, is aggressive. It'd be like you inviting me over to your house to meet your friends, and you open the door and I say, "Hi!" and I headbutt you. And then I go and meet all your other friends, and I go, "Hi!" and I headbutt them too. Each and every one of them. It's because I'm just really friendly, you see. No, it's because I'm an aggressive asshole that I would do that. Unless we had all agreed that that's how we would greet each other. Now, when your dog or someone else's dog runs up to another dog who hasn't had a virtual previous meeting, there has been no agreement that we shall headbutt each other into uncomfortableness when we greet each other. Therefore, your dog is being aggressive. I don't really give a flying rat's crap if your dog actually likes other dogs and likes to play. That is not the point. So, what I want you to do is start looking at not just your dog's behavior, but also look at other dogs' behavior. You and the other dog the dog's owner might decide that that other dog is behaving in a friendly manner because they're excited to see other dogs. But your dog picks up the facts, the truth, the reality that the other dog, in his excitement, is actually an a-hole, and therefore should be wary of it. And yet, you go, "Oh, that dog's friendly. I'll just let them get together on a leash and just meet each other." And now your dog is forced to deal with crazy a-hole while you just chit-chat and talk about how cute each other's dogs are. And then your poor dog, who may not have been a crazy a-hole, is now forced to deal with this all by themselves. So they learn to snap, snarl, bark, growl, or run away when another dog approaches. That would be your fault. So, when we're talking about aggression, you must get out of your mind that it's about intent. Let me put it another way. Dogs who are extremely aggressive in terms of greeting other dogs, play, P-L-A-Y, play, is not simply what we think of when we play. Like if you hang out with your friends and play a card game. Although, I don't know, I played poker with my brothers and their friends, and when you're amongst a bunch of men, it's a little more clear that there is some sort of aggression there. It's familiar aggression, it's acceptable competition, there are certain lines that each group sort of defines as not to cross, but there is a certain amount of competitive aggression, and there is sort of a status thing going on. Nothing wrong with that, I'm just letting you know that it does happen. So, when you're talking about dogs, they're actually setting up hierarchies and status and relationship, sort of who are they to other people in this particular group. And a particular dog might be the more dominant one in this particular mix, but another dog comes in and they're more dominant, and therefore all the mix changes, and the dynamics change, and the attitudes change, and the behaviors change. So, when you say, "Oh, my dog is just playful," or you hear someone say, "My dog is just playful," I want you to be aware that they are not aware, or you are not aware, that the play is about dominance. It's about establishing that hierarchy. Now, a well-socialized dog is not going to simply slam themselves into everybody and say, "I am the dominant one here, do you understand? Okay, good, you didn't do anything about it, then I am." That's not necessarily what we would call friendliness. So you need to get the idea of friendliness out of your head. That's not your deal. What is the behavior? How intense is it? Does the dog slow down within 3 feet of the other dog and give the other dog a chance to actually give cues as to whether they want to interact or not? That would be a properly socialized dog, not a dog who must get into the face of every single dog because that dog is insecure. And it is, here comes the next one, fact about aggression. Aggression is almost always a matter of insecurity or fear. Almost always. Sometimes it's, they got hit by a car and they've got a little brain damage going on. That does happen occasionally. Sometimes dogs are born, and it's really rare, but sometimes dogs are born just kind of miswired, kind of like sometimes people are, and they just do not have the ability to function as a normal dog. However, barring from those two extreme examples, almost all aggression is about their is about. I had a brain fart. I just had a brain fart on air. It's not about the simplicity of. Let me put it this way. Let me explain it this way. Many clients and students come to me and say, "I spent $200 to $2,000 for behaviors to tell me that my dog has fear aggression." Yeah, tell me that the sky is blue, and I'll be really shocked. Almost always it's about fear. Even when it comes to possessiveness, being possessive about food bowls or toys or what have you is about a fear of not having it. So it ultimately comes from an insecure place. It does not come from, very rarely actually, that they were mistreated. So here's the dilemma. You walk down the street, you're trying to keep your dog in heel, and somebody's got their dog way out in front. They're overexcited. Your dogs are getting anxious now. You have to reassure your dog to stay in heel while you're going past this, and that person just says, "Oh, my dog is really friendly." As if by saying so, they have absolved themselves from all of their shubs behavior by not actually, taking responsibility, and they have just, basically said, "I'm going to let my dog T-bone your dog's face." Because there's been no blood so far in my experience with my dog, so therefore my dog's not aggressive. And if you were to tell them that they're aggressive, because I've done that many times, they take it very probably should, but they don't understand the concept of aggression. If you see a dog coming towards you or your dog doing this where they lower their head and stare at another dog, that's aggression. That comes out of insecurity and therefore makes the other dogs insecure. It's a warning. It's not friendliness. It's not good socialization. So these are the things that I want you to start paying attention to. Excitement, whether it's for positive reasons or negative reasons, that is not properly channeled is aggression. Now, a person who's trying to keep their dog in heel while they're really nervous and excited about another dog is called properly channeling that energy, and therefore avoiding or curing the aggression. The aggression has to do with the behavior. So when it comes back, going back to how dogs think, if they see something that excites them or makes them nervous, they just focus on it. And then the hormones keep building and building and building and building to the point where they actually might explode unless you redirect it or channel it to something more positive and conducive to the pack, like heel. Okay? See, if I see a See's Candy sign down the mall and I'm beelining it towards there, almost in this trance, which is what happens with dogs. They kind of go into this hormonal trance. I technically have the ability to tell myself, I did have 3 candy bars today. I probably shouldn't have any more. And I technically have the ability to stop myself. Dogs do not have that ability. You have to teach them the social filters by redirecting right at the moment they start getting excited about something. And this is what people don't do. I see it all over and over again, this Shub's behavior. Oh, he's just really excited. Well, the dog's now barking, growling, screaming at the end of the leash, and they still think that their dog is being friendly. In reality, they're being aggressive. So when it comes to working with your dog and other people's dogs, whenever you hear someone say, "My dog is friendly," they are already making an excuse for their dog's behavior. "Oh, don't worry, my dog won't kill your dog," is what they're basically saying. But yet, we don't know if that's going to happen because over time, all this hormonal flux that keeps going on, this spikes in their bloodstream, eventually comes to the point where their homeostasis, their sense of normal, their sense of calm is much higher. It's at a boiling point at all times as opposed to actually being calm. And now you have highly reactive dogs all the time to everything.